Hey friends, it's me, R. Alex Murray, cosmic traveler and seeker of truth. Just Alex, doing the thing. Here we go. It's an interlude. Paul's traveling. I've got rehearsals and nonsense. It's been a wacky summer. Thanks for hanging with us, those of you who have been hanging with us. Live show update. We're sort of easing back a little bit. We're going to reassess, think about it. We had one really great one, and then, I don't know if you guys know this about time, but months come around real fast, and if you're busy, they come around even faster, and weeks come around really fast, and if you're busy, they come around even faster. So we're really trying to figure out a good schedule to stream the show and hang out and have more guests and really do something with this show that we've been doing for 5 years now, and we love it, and we want to put more energy into it, and we want to find the time and energy to put into it. So we're working on things. But mainly today, I wanted to, I guess, issue an apology to Garfield the cat, and then talk about time briefly for a second, which of course is our favorite thing to talk about on this show. It was definitely Garfield's 45th birthday the other day, and I think I said 46 a whole bunch of times. And, I just forgot that, not everybody's year goes up by one when the year turns, right? So as soon as it was 2023, I started saying 45 years ago, and then on his birthday, I was like, I just added a number. I was like 46. So happy 45, Garfield. Glad you're doing well. It was really fun to watch a whole bunch of really goofy meme accounts sort of celebrate the fact that this cat's been around for 45 years. It's pretty insane. All of my life, he's been ubiquitous and around. And I said before, I simply don't remember a time without Garfield the cat, because I didn't exist in a time where Garfield the cat didn't exist. It's bizarre, and thanks, Jim and Garfield for doing it. I still haven't 100% figured out why I love the cartoon so much. I think it is because it does touch me somewhere deeper than the dumb ass joke that we get presented with every day. Yeah, in terms of time, I just wanted to say, and astrology and mysticism, that I made sort of a similar mistake with myself. I grew up for years. You go to the Chinese restaurant in Rome, Georgia after church, and Mr. Lee comes out and he treats your family right the whole time because both of his sons had your dad as a teacher, and, it's a small town and everybody knows everybody, and they get excited to see us, and we have just a blast. And of course, one of the best parts pre-poo-poo platter of hanging out at the local Chinese restaurant was reaffirming your Chinese zodiac sign every couple of weeks. And I'm a rat, or I thought I was. Rat's Year of the Rat, 1984, and then also whatever the year of my dad's birth was, also a rat. And it was the thing that, locked my dad and I together, and rats are also, slick and academically motivated and charming and charismatic, and I was like, I like all that, and it's all the things that I was proud that I'd inherited from my dad, and so I just sort of excitedly was a rat, my whole life. And then I guess about 3 years ago, living in New York, the Chinese New Year was being celebrated. It's a thing up here, right? Not a whole lot of big Chinese culture in Northwest Georgia. There's not a lot of massive. The Lees were in fact Korean, and giving us all Americanized Chinese food. But all of a sudden you move up here and there's a massive Chinese culture and population, and it just finally dawned on me a couple years ago that January is before the New Year, the Chinese New Year's. That happens in February. So it turns out that I haven't been a rat the whole time. I'm a pig. I'm a pig, and I guess I started to think of myself as a pig raised as a rat. And it's really interesting when you're trying to lock into the part of yourself that's governed by time and the stars and patterns that are so large you can't really get a hold of them, but they seem to do something, and there are traditions that are convinced that they do something, and then there are people that want to look for reasons why they behave certain ways. There are people look for reasons why we behave the way we do. It's why there's tarot cards, and it's why there's therapy. We're all trying to figure out why we aren't more motivated and why we just can't stop shoving those good Chips Ahoy cookies into our mouths on Tuesday nights. It's hard. And it's either my mom's fault or Saturn's fault, or maybe both, or maybe just, a part of a massive wheel that's going somewhere, and the spirit that I'm inhabiting right now that ran down Indra's web and dropped into the giant cosmic ruby that turned itself into our Alex Murray just God loves cookies so much, and needs to know what it's like to wrestle with having a sweet tooth that they don't really want to control. It's odd. It's odd when you think of yourself as one thing and then have to start thinking of yourself as something else. And it locks in with I'm currently in rehearsals for As You Like It. It's part of why we're all over the place right now. And there's a line, my favorite line in the play, happens when the bad guy, Shakespeare's plays get weird with bad guys and good guys, right? Especially the comedies. But the bad guy, when Oliver, who's like a crappy older brother who's been treating his younger brother like garbage for years, shows up in the woods towards the end of the play, and he's like, hey, and somebody immediately is like, hey, I know you, you're the bad guy. And he looks at them and goes, 'twas I, but 'tis not I do not shame to tell you what I was, being the thing I am. Which is rad. That's so good and so cool. And something that I think, any human being who's trying to change and grow and become can lock onto, because God, I do not shame to tell you what I was, being the thing I am, is incredibly powerful, because it's fucking hard to change. As somebody who exists in a world where there are lots of pictures of him with a Confederate flag on his head playing lacrosse as a teenager, it's real easy for me to talk about that because I'm not that person anymore. The shame's gone from it. There's no need for me to talk about who I was. And it's interesting to have something flip on you just because you weren't looking at time correctly. That says, no, you're not that. You're not that. Sure, you got some things from your father. You were raised by a rat. You absolutely are ambitious and academic and Ravenclaw-y in a lot of ways, but pigs are pretty mellow. Where rats are essentially quick-witted, resourceful, versatile, and kind, pigs, it turns out, are compassionate, generous, and diligent, sort of mellow, and they put their heads down and they get things done, and they take their time. And when I was a child, I was late to music class, to Diane Lumpkin's music class as a 10-year-old. And I don't super remember doing this, but this is one of those stories that she would tell to people and tell me when she saw me, later in life. She said, Alex, you're supposed to be here 5 minutes ago. And I just looked at her and went, never hurry a Murray. And I had picked that up from somewhere, but that is very pig energy. And I don't know. I am attempting to lock into the thing that I now know myself to be, while not being at all ashamed of the thing that I thought myself for so long. And that's easy to do. Have no shame. The kid that I was in 2001 who bought a Confederate flag and wrapped it around his head so he could feel like more of an undefeatable badass on the lacrosse pitch. Didn't know any goddamn better, you know what I mean? And then I learned, and I moved forward, and now I look at that, through a glass darkly and all that. I think that's it. That's it for this week. Is my contemplation is, do not have any shame for who you used to be. And as you try to become a new person, if you're not trying to become a new person, I don't know what you're doing on here, man. You're the guy you're just going to have to jump right back into the same cosmic ruby on the web and figure it out over again. But that's up to you. If you're trying to become and to change and to grow as we enter the summer solstice and the summer season, the season of having become and dealing with your wings that you grew in your chrysalis. Think back and look at the lessons that you learned, and there's no need to feel any shame in them. Whether you knew you were a pig the whole time, or you thought you were an ugly duckling and have turned out to be a rat swan. I've got so many animal metaphors going on now, I simply can't handle it. But there's no shame in the thing you used to be. The thing you used to be was, of course, necessary for you to become the thing that you are. And the thing that you are is the thing you need to be right now until you become the next thing. And the thing that Mystic Lasagna is right now is the thing that it is right now until we need to become the next thing. I don't know if our wings have been clipped, or if we've clipped our own wings, or if we're just taking a rest on a goddamn branch for a minute. Because Paul and I fly a lot. There's a lot going on. Anyway, we love you. Lasagnaste.